Welcome to Chaos Connections, the Not Safe for Work podcast removing the filters from the Instagram of parenting and daily life. We're three moms, Harley, Rain, and Raven, parenting our darling crotch fruit through various stages and phases while trying to maintain relationships, careers, a sense of humor, and our sense of self. Clearly not our waistlines. Join us through our triumphs, laugh at and commiserate with our struggles, marvel at how we function in our batshit crazy lives. Just be mindful of our motto, Irumabu circuitu et queramus, which is Latin for fuck around and find out.
Hello. Welcome back to another interesting conversation with, the Moms of Chaos. This week, we are going to be talking about what we wanted to be when we grow up and how that relates to what the fuck actually happened. So, it's just kind of one of those things. I'm interested to see what my co-conspirators wanted to be when they grow up, because I don't think we're fully grown yet.
I was
God, no, I
just
hope not.
gonna say, can I just add a caveat? I'm still trying to decide what I want to be when I grow up. So
Same.
I know what I want to be when I grow up. I just am having a hard time getting into that field because field career changing and
Fuckery.
it's a bitch.
yes,
Fuck
it is.
people.
Yes. Fuck hiring managers.
But it's also one of the things I want to touch on is what my kids want to be when they grow up and how I'm seeing them strive for that and how it shows their maturity and their growth from when they were super small. So Witchkin 2, her birthday's coming up in a month, and I'm getting very, what's the word I'm looking for, ladies?
All kinds of drowning in the fields.
I am, because it's like, oh, she was so little and she loved pink, and now she fucking hates pink. And the mouth on her, you would never fucking know that she was this sweet little mouse thing.
Dude, don't get me
mine,
started
too.
because Gremlin 1, all right, audience, be prepared. I might blow your mind, but Gremlin 1 likes to randomly reach out to me either when he's here, he'll grab my attention and be like, "Hey mom," or we'll be talking on the phone, he'll be like, "Guess what?" "What, baby?" "You're gonna have a 20-year-old at the end of this year." "Shut the fuck up." Yeah.
So I'll have a 20-year-old next year. And a 17-year-old next year.
Yeah.
I will have a 20-year-old next year and a 17-year-old this year.
Yeah.
It's been fun watching them grow up, though, and watching them turn into their own people.
Yeah, it is. But it's funny because Gremlin 1 is finally realizing that without the routine of school, your days can blend together. And so he was talking and he was like, "Man, it's almost the end of 2024. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Wow, time has gone by so fast." I'm like, "You're getting old." All right. So I'll start with the childhood dreams and aspirations. I, like many children, changed my mind probably more often than I changed my underwear.
No.
Yeah, I know. Who would have guessed that Harley was indecisive about anything in her life?
The only thing you're not indecisive about is when you get hooked on a type of food or ice cream or snack.
I haven't had that issue since surgery. But anyway, that's another topic for another time.
But I'm just going off of that.
No, if you ever are curious about my indecisiveness, I've owned more than 10 cars in my lifetime. Not because I wrecked them, because I buy one and I'm like, "Oh, I love this car," or "Oh, this car is going to get me from point A to point B. I'm going to be very logical here and just cover my basic needs." And then I get tired of covering my basic needs, and I'm like, bitch, please, I need to roll up in soil, honey. So then I've I have traded in cars. I have been
Finally found the
upside
car that she
down.
likes.
I have settled. I have finally made my final decision, and it actually was my final decision all along about the car I wanted. It just took me a long time to get it. And now I have it, and I'm happy as a pig in shit. So that baby's staying with me until it's time to trade her in for a
She does love
newer
her car.
year. But growing up, of course, I went through the phase where I wanted to be a supermodel, and I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to be like a pop star because I I'm a movie star. I feel like every little girl that I grew up with went through that phase. But a good little bit, at least every girl I grew up with, but for a good little bit, I actually wanted to be a police detective.
You
Like,
have to go through patrol first.
yeah. Well, I wasn't even 10 yet. I was very young when I decided that I wanted to be a detective. And my mom did her best to try to encourage our interest. So I remember she bought me a couple of books about detectives, dumbed down for my age group or whatever. And then that faded to the background and kind of wandered, just trying to find who I was. Um, and then again, to recap, I got pregnant in high school, and um, so dealt with that. But I was fortunate enough to have a handful of very good, impactful teachers, educators in my life who I who put forth the extra effort to you know to bring in the classrooms, to engage their classroom or whatever, and it took to heart for me. And so I for a good little while I contemplated being a high school English teacher because I wanted to be that impactful teacher for for those handful of students that, trickle through your classroom over the years. And I was talking through it one day with an old friend from like junior high, and he was like, do you honestly think you'd be a good teacher? And I was like, honestly, I don't think I have the patience for it. I'd probably beat somebody with a chalkboard eraser, throw like soft plushy toys at kids' heads to get them to shut the hell up. And then, for the young at-risk youth girl that I see being promiscuous and potentially going down the same path I was, I would want to try to intervene and be a voice of reason or whatever. And she'd wind up with 6 babies and 12 baby daddies. And I was like, talking through it, I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't think I'd be a good teacher.
So here's the thing. I think Captain would be a phenomenal teacher. I don't think he would be a good teacher for school age children who don't have a choice of what classes they're in and having to censor himself because he's a sailor. But I think he would be a phenomenal teacher, but it would need to be at like a collegiate level or a level of um
Higher education.
voluntary. Higher education. Okay, you want to learn about the lore of 40K? Let's fucking go. And he will go into it. There's plenty of people who do that, and it's, but you have a similar way of explaining things that can be engaging. And one thing that I admire is because it brings something, both of you being able to teach the way you do and have the conversations that you do, it brings more to our tribe and what we can offer our witchkins, gremlins, and apprentices.
This is true.
So
Yeah,
kudos to
but
you.
I can also see the shit that would go wrong with either one of those two in a classroom of teenagers.
Oh
And
yeah.
shit would go wrong.
Oh yeah.
Oh
No.
God, yeah.
If Captain and I were in like a primary school setting, oh, we would
Oh,
have
fuck that shit.
so many complaints. I remember in fifth grade. You know, teachers would get agitated and they might raise their voice and threaten to, you know, have silent lunch or something or whatever. But there was one teacher, he got in trouble because he told his class to shut up. Ooh. Yeah, Captain and I would pole vault past that boundary. We'd be like, shut the fuck up and get your ass in the goddamn corner. You pissed your pants? Good.
No, he'd be like, all right, you
For
want
your mommy to clean it up for you. Now get.
No, he'd be like, all right, you don't want to pay attention? Fine, give me push-ups. And I want them accurate. Push-ups don't bother you? Okay, let's go with burpees.
Oh, fuck burpees.
You're either going to be smart or you're going to be strong.
I remember Rain
but-
introduced me to the 3-point timeout.
Yeah.
And
So for those of you who don't know what the 3-point timeout is, it is where you have your kid go to a wall and their nose goes against the wall. And then they put their arms out to their sides and they have to use their pointer fingers and touch the wall. So it's a 3-point timeout and they can't move. And normally it's because they done got to the point of, all right, I'm shouting, I'm sick of your shit. Now you're going to fucking, we don't play this game. You know better than this shit.
yeah, I didn't.
3-point timeouts.
I was not aware of the 3-point timeout. And then Rain, we used to do trade-off weekends where we would take each other's
We
kids.
seriously were like, you know, we had joint custody of each other's kids without any legal documentation.
We would alternate weekends. One weekend Rain would have my kids. The next weekend we would have Rain's kids or Rain's kid, and we would alternate so that every other weekend each of us would have some free time, you know, some solitude, some, you know, just a couple moments to catch our breath. And I went to pick up my kids from Rain's house, and she was telling me, she was like, because the kids were kind of rambunctious, and I was like, man, they're kind of amped up today. And she was telling me, she's like, yeah, they've been in timeout. They've even done a couple of 3-point timeouts. And I'm like, ¿qué eso? What's a 3-point timeout? And she explained it to me, and I was like, this is diabolical. And 3-point timeouts became part of the regular rotation for punishment.
It's not always the go-to, but when it's like, okay,
When you
you're
pitch
not
a limit.
listening. You're not listening. You keep pushing. We're gonna go 3-point timeout. Okay, you want to keep pushing after that? Okay, we're gonna go to
Wall squat.
All right, let's go do laps.
I got some
Oh yeah,
awesome
wall
yard work
squats
you
have
can
been
do.
another one.
Wall squats are evil.
So yard work to do would be but I'm so hot. And then it would be like half-assed. They would be half-assed doing it.
Oh no, mine would get a pair of scissors to go trim the lawn.
Oh yeah, I could see you doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're off topic.
A little bit. All right, so
but I mean, it's us. So your turn, Raven.
I grew up in a very different time from you two. And when I was growing up, we got told that we could be whatever we wanted, but then we got stymied every step of the way and tried to funnel us into specific paths and niches, and I wasn't having any of that shit. So at first I wanted to be an acrobat because my mom took us to the circus a lot. So I wanted to be an acrobat. However, I am 5'3", and I will never be long and lithe enough to do acrobatics. I've tried. It's not comical, it's sad. So I decided, okay, grandma and grandpa are teachers. Dad's going to school to be a teacher. Mom wants to be a teacher. Fuck it, I'll be a teacher. And this was, middle school when I was still young and idealistic and the world had not stomped me down yet. And then I decided I really fucking hated kids. Well, I mean, I'm the oldest of a bunch and I got stuck babysitting a lot. So yeah, I fucking hated kids. I did not want to be around them. I didn't even want kids. Fuck all this shit. I'm gonna be a goddamn lawyer. I'm gonna be a high-powered lawyer in my pinstripe suit, living in my downtown loft, and telling the other lawyer how much he sucks and winning cases. That's gonna be my life.
That was also in rotation, and I was going to be a lawyer and work my way up to be the first female president. That was like 4th grade. I remember. And I remember I drew
See,
a
I just
picture
wanted to
of
be a
it.
partner in a law firm.
I remember I drew a picture of me as the first lady, and there was a little boy in my class who I thought was super cool, and we were friends or whatever. And I drew him. His name was Billy. I drew Billy as my bodyguard when I was giving a speech
Oh my goodness.
as first lady or as the first female president.
Well, right after I had decided on becoming a lawyer, the Gulf War happened. And my class got to watch that live. Like every morning on Channel 1, we were glued into what was happening with the Gulf War. And fuck it, I'll be a hippie. Bell bottoms were coming back, platform shoes were coming back in. So I organized a bra burning to protest the war.
Well,
And
it
I was the only one
explains
that
so
showed
much
up.
now.
How old were you
Yeah.
when you did that?
14, 15.
Okay, so you did have boobs to burn the bra for. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Kind of.
You got to
Not
remember,
really.
she's the smallest of the three of us
Yeah.
Well,
in the testicular area.
I mean,
yeah.
I had boobs for days at that age, so I just assume everybody did. Go ahead.
No.
You still have boobs for days.
No, the boob fairy did not really visit me until I was in my 20s. But so like after high school, I went to college and I was a pre-law major and I took my first political science class and was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. This is bananas. And then I just bounced around for a while. I was like, I don't know if you guys remember the movie Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore and Gina Gugino.
It sounds familiar.
Majored in karate for 2 semesters.
I feel like I may have seen it like once it was edited for TV.
If you have not seen,
Okay.
it doesn't need to be super edited for TV because of the time
It
frame
really
that it came out in.
doesn't.
But I believe you and Joker have it on La Voodoo. And
Yes, you should watch it because
it
it's
is
hilarious.
fucking hilarious.
It's stupid fun. It is
That's
stupid
it.
fun.
So you
But
know how
Raven-
you like Will Ferrell and his stupid movies?
Not all of them. Raven,
Which I don't,
send me a
but
private message with
I
the
don't
name
like
of that
all of them.
movie.
Okay, all right. So anyway, that's what I was. I was Pauly Shore in that movie. I was a paycheck loans person and a bill collector. I was a telemarketer. I worked at the graveyard shift at a Hardee's. I mean, I did all kinds of shit. I worked at a day camp at a 5-star resort, and that's where I lost Tommy Lee Jones's daughter in the zoo. And luckily, he was not there that day, so that's why I'm still alive. This was when The Fugitive had just come out, so I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, "Oh dear God, he's going to come for me, and he's not going to believe anything I say. Holy shit, I'm going to die." But we did
found
find
the
her,
kid though.
and she looked exactly like him.
You found the kid
Yes,
though.
we found the kid.
Thank God.
Yes, we found the kid. Yes. What else have I done?
Crucial
I mean,
detail.
I've worked retail, I've worked fast food, I've been a waitress. Huh?
Crucial detail. I just had to clarify.
Oh, yeah. No. She is alive and well, and if she's not, it is not my fault. Because this was fucking years ago. She's a grown-ass woman at this point. And then, I joined the Air Force, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Let me just find something stable for a little while. And, I learned a few computer skills and became a contractor and learned a whole bunch of other skills, and that was a lot of fun. And now I like what I do, but I don't know if I want to do it forever, and I really don't feel grown up, and I don't feel like I'm in my actual final career. So it's kind of this weird old limbo.
Yeah.
And my kids, when I tell them about all the stuff I used to do, they're like, "Nah." Yeah, for reals. I got lost in a canyon.
when
You know,
I was
I lost Tommy Lee Jones's daughter in the zoo, like all kinds of shit.
when I was after I had Gremlin 1, I got a job as a waitress at a restaurant, and that was my one and only job in food service. I will never go back to food service, and if you work in food service, I commend you. Unless you're the waiter
This is why
that
we tip well.
unless you're the waiter that I had at a specific restaurant one night
House of
that
Pies?
Rain was with me. And in that case, I'm going to say the same thing
Yes,
that
that
I said
waiter.
when I left.
That is going to
Do
be a
better.
Harley storytime story.
I'm going to say the same thing I said when I left. Do better. Anyway, I still
Uh-huh.
tip the
So
guy.
that we're gonna make a note. She did still tip the guy, but that whole story we will need to put a note to do it in a Harley story time on our Patreon, because we do need to do some work on that. And we'll go into that announcement at the end. But since they have gone through what they wanted to be when they were growing up, I wanted to be a waitress. I wanted to be an accountant.
I was an accountant for a little while. I did not love it.
My aunt convinced me that I could be an accountant to rock stars.
For a hot second, I wanted to be an accountant because I like math. Yes, I'm a math nerd. I enjoy doing algebra and algebraic equations. Shut the fuck up. Hit me up if you need tutoring for your kid.
So why can't you find my ex, and why did he leave?
That's different. That's unsolved mysteries, man.
They'll never find him.
The
Anyway,
answer is Infinity Man.
hey, I'm good
No,
with where I'm at.
I was an accountant for a hot second. I did. I worked for a property management company balancing the books. I worked for an insurance company doing like forensic accounting. I have done people's taxes, and no, I fucking hate it. You can have it. I don't want it.
So
Go ahead, Rain, and then I will
at
give a
one
rundown
point,
of my employment history.
Well, no, I'm not even in my employment history. I'm still going into what I wanted to be when I was
I
growing
know,
up.
but Raven delved into her
At one
employment
point,
history,
I
and I
wanted.
didn't.
Well, we'll get back around to you, goddammit.
Harley's FOMO is kicking in.
And we're back to interrupting Rain. Anyway, so I wanted to be in HR, not to do the recruiting thing, but to do the training, to do like making sure everything is good and people knew what they wanted to do. You know, me being the helpful caretaker that I am by nature.
She is a brownie.
For those of you who did not see Raven's face, it's like, well, that's fucking true.
It tracks.
And then at another time, because I just have always been the mom of every group that I'm in, which also got pointed out at my new job, and I'll go into that story later. I just being a mom and a homemaker, and making new recipes. At one point, I did make recipes. I did write a couple of recipes for a friend's restaurant. And I think she wanted me to do that just so she could get my Heath cookie recipe, because she wanted it and I wasn't living in that state anymore. And now I'm kind of floating between contract to contract, but I know what I want to be when I grow up. It's just getting there is a pain in the ass, because I've been an executive assistant or something along those lines for the last 10 fucking years. And project
And the job
management is
market
what I want to do.
sucks right now.
Project management is what I want to do. It's what I want to get into. And it is so hard to find a job or to find an opportunity for someone starting out, because they want you to have all these certs. And I'm sorry, but when you're an executive assistant, one, you do a lot of work and you do have some project management experience in doing that. However, they don't pay enough for you to get the certs on, a regular basis. So you go in having all the certs. You have to prioritize, you have to plan, you have to put money aside so you could go and take the test, and you make sure you have to study your ass off so you pass them, so you don't have to pay that price again, because fuck, money doesn't grow on trees. I wish it did, but it doesn't. And I can't do the Samantha nose twitch and just make shit happen. So yes, go into your employment history because I kind of delved into mine a little bit. Your floor,
So,
Harley.
all right. So I dabbled in food service, and as soon as I could, I got out of that and I went to and I worked in retail. I worked in Best Buy for a little bit. Worked through the old school Black Friday where people would line up by the door starting like the night before. The doors would open at like 3 a.m. with doorbusters and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I worked Black Friday when that was big. Um, did that for a little bit, and then I wound up moving from Texas to upstate New York. Um, I wasn't able to transfer, and so um, I was just shy of 18, and I was looking for a job, but a lot there it was tricky. But I wound up like the week of my birthday when I was going to turn 18, I went and applied at a 7-Eleven that was right at the exit of my neighborhood. And um, and I told the guy, I was like, I'm not 18. I turn 18 in like 3 days. And he was like, okay, I'll take it into consideration. I had no idea that he was the owner of the store when I went in to fill out the application, but there you go. Um, worked at 7-Eleven for a little bit. Yeah. Then I turned 18 and all of a sudden there were there were more opportunities. I was eligible to apply to more locations and more positions. And I was going to college and I got a job working part-time in a call center for a bank. And all of a sudden, instead of making minimum wage, I was making like $13 an hour. Well, hot diggity damn, my shit don't stink.
This was back when $13 an hour was nothing to be like, oh well, that's still crap. Whereas now
I know.
it's like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to even afford an apartment, let alone food?
Yeah.
Oh wait, and I have a kid?
Well,
Huh? How
all
am I supposed to do this?
right. Well,
All right, continue.
I thought I was making some big bucks. All right. And
At the
and
time,
then I
you were
got
making decent money, yes.
distracted by dickheads and I dropped out of college and went full time in the call center for the bank. Did that for a few years, left there. I did a little bit. I was an office manager, but I was doing not payroll. I was doing accounts payable and receivable. So I was dabbling in accounting and I realized no matter how much I love math and equations, I will bash my head against a wall if I ever have to do accounting again. And if my mom is listening to this, I love you, but I don't know how you do it because she's an accountant. God bless her. Um, and then I briefly stepped back into retail after I had Gremlin 3 when I was trying to get back in the job market. And then I went back into working at a bank. And so I was in banking or some sort of banking type position for close to 10 years. And when I worked in the banking branch, yes, I have been robbed. I will tell that in a story time if it's requested. Um, then when I moved back down to Texas, I was looking for a job and I fell into,
I thought
um,
she was a bitch.
yeah, and I fell into insurance claims handling. And holy shit, time flies because I've been doing that 10 years now. Gee bus. 10 years working in insurance. But like Rain,
Yeah, I had.
I also want to get into project management or I want to go back to school for nuclear medicine. I don't know. Help me decide.
We can't help
Why
you
not both?
decide, but we can help you pro and con it and see what you actually want to do and what you have time for
Or do both. Yeah,
to learning.
I got to start a new job this week, and I'm very, very grateful. And somebody was asking me how long I've been in the, like, working in the spaces I've been in, and just casually, oh yeah, it's been about 15 years. Holy shit, it's been that fucking long. How old am I again?
Right?
That's another reason Witchkin 2's birthday is fucking with me, because it's like, son of a bitch, I'm fucking old. This is horseshit.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And someone goes, you're only as old as you feel. I go, I feel like I'm I'm, the ghost roaming a freaking haunted house, creaking all the time. I'm fucking old.
Oh, speaking of which, I saw a coupon for Six Flags Fiesta Texas for the Fright Fest.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's interested, the coupon code is IHOP.
I would love to be interested, but I probably will not get to go this season
I hear
because
it.
I spent a lot of time in the unemployment line and trying to find a job. But I do have a job, and I shout out to the listeners that listen to us from there, because I did take some of our cards and was like, hey, you like podcasts?
Yeah, y'all are
Are you
awesome. And I
musing?
was telling Rain the other day that she is braver than I am because, dude, I just started this job. I don't know these people. I don't know how like what their tolerance level is for bullshit. So I'm scared to tell them that I even do a podcast, let alone what we do. And like I'll pass out cards around town, no problem. But at work, I'm like,
Oh
oh.
no. You know
So
what's funny is
here's my thing.
when me and Rain go out, we'll be talking and we'll make somebody laugh. I took her to the urgent care and we were making the nurse and the doctor crack up. And Rain was like, Harley, tell him. Like, tell him what? Tell him about Chaos Connections. And I was like, oh, okay. So we do a podcast. And then Rain's like, give him a card. Give him a card. I'm like, I am not your monkey to
Okay,
make
because
dance.
you, and then I made you fucking dance, monkey. And so no, but it's you start questions and you start conversations and you gauge people. And
Yeah,
both of you should be decent enough at it at this point in our lives to gauge people. And
I can. It's just I haven't had enough time around these people really yet, and I'm just like,
okay,
I don't want to lose
I
this job. I just got it.
trained, and then I've had the job for a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I don't know. Yeah, a week and a half. And I'm already training the newest member of our team, and everyone's like, well, that tracks because I'm good at training. I'm good at learning and figuring out how to do trainings. And it's something that I thoroughly enjoy because I'm apparently fucking weird. But the one of the most recent people to listen to it had the podcast playing on her headphones or their headphones.
Oh god.
And I made sure to say, we can be offensive. We are not safe for work.
Mm-mm.
So if you're going to listen to it, make sure no one can hear it, because just on the off chance that somebody is going to get offended, I've given the
We don't want to be
disclaimer.
the cause of y'all getting in trouble at work, so just put your headphones in.
I give the disclaimer to anybody who I give a card to or tell about the podcast. And she's like, huh? And it's like, yeah, we take the Instagram filter off of, parenthood, life, and life in general. We discuss date nights, mental health, yada yada yada. So the I believe the first one that was listened to was our self-care one, and she busted out laughing as we're working through one of our priority tasks for our team. And the person next to her just kind of looked at her like she was crazy. because she just busted out laughing. So I get a message on the inner office thing going, I'm listening to y'all now, and oh my god, y'all are funny. And then at lunch, I was told, I really like Harley. And
Which
you
is
know, I'm
fantastic
like,
because Harley does not have a big enough ego. So
no, she not even slightly does she have a big enough ego.
So
But
I put up like I do.
I
I
have
honestly don't. I don't. I have so much self-doubt. It's not even funny.
your self doubt normally comes from other aspects, not the fact that you're hilarious.
Mm.
seriously.
So we need to work on the rest of the self doubt issues, but you're
Uh-huh.
hilarious. And then you put all of us together, we're really fucking funny. Um, but no, I will start conversations, and if someone's talking about something, I will just jump in because that's who I am. I mean, my do not get mad, Harley. I'm going to bring up my high school best friend. Okay, don't get jealous. How I met
I'm kidding.
how
I'm
I
kidding.
became friends with that how I became friends with that person was I was on the swim team and was in the locker room. There was not really anybody there. There was one other person and said high school best friend. And high school best friend was bitching about her current quote unquote best friend who didn't have time for her and only contacted her when they wanted something or there was no one else available to hang out with. And I'm
Mm.
sitting over at the
Was
end
she
of,
friends with
the
my
uppest.
dad?
No. Your dad is far too fucking old to be a high schooler at this point. Goddamn, I'm not that old.
No,
And
no,
then
no, 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 not what I meant at all.
I don't know.
oh no.
You
That's
hear
just
Anyway,
how
about
my dad
continue.
teenage
acts.
adults that like dress
So
up and go into schools as kids.
yeah. Anyway, so
But
I was sitting all the way across the locker room from where they were, but we're the only ones in the locker room, so of course I can hear the conversation.
mm-hmm.
I am not known for minding my own business and never have been. So I just was like, it sounds like you really just need to tell that person to fuck off. And then come to find out we had geometry together. And that was the source of a couple of other inside jokes. And if you're listening, which I know you're a very good listener, I'm going to say this, and here you go, perpendicular. There you go. That's all I'm saying right now. I'll go into that story in the next episode to tell you why that is an inside joke.
Okay, because I'm
I know you're curious. It's great. But
confused.
it keeps you on your toes. But yeah, that's how we became friends. Is I told her to tell her current best friend to fuck off,
Uh-huh.
and
So
Because
I
how can you be
will.
friends with somebody and then not make time for them?
Yeah, I will say this to Rain. What you said earlier, I I'm not tooting my own horn, but you just reminded me.
toot toot, motherfucker.
You just reminded me that you're that's not the first time that someone has said that I can be very engaging to to and that I have a um I have a gift for pulling people
You have
into
a
group
singular way of
conversations.
explaining things, and
It's not singular because
it's almost
she can
yeah,
engage with
but
multiple people, so it's not a singular way of communicating because
well,
everybody communicates different.
it's singular because I've never heard anybody else do this but Harley. And she will
Have you
take
not
the
listened to
most
Captain?
he's different. He's different.
Fair.
Harley will take the most mundane encounter and spin it with crazy ass words until you are laughing so hard your stomach hurts.
It is a great ab workout though. So hop on over to Patreon and listen to some Harley story times
My Karen
because
stories are
there
quite.
is one that's there's one that's not as funny, but it is very insightful.
Yes, there is one where I do give some additional feedback about, or not feedback, some additional information into how I became who I am. So is a little bit more serious. But I tell stories about Karen encounters, and I even
Her being a
posed a
Karen.
question. I even posed a question of whether or not I was possibly the Karen in a certain scenario. So head on over to Patreon to listen and give me your feedback. Um, but yeah,
So
And
speaking
the
of
other part of
Karens,
Patreon, is Raven and I go into controversial topics that we don't want to bring here because one, Harley may not want to talk about them, and this is a very public forum. And we don't want to be polarizing to our listeners, but we do have opinions on things, and we're not going. And if we ever talk about those on our other show that's on Patreon, we're not trying to sway you one way or another, but we will
nope.
voice our opinion, and we just want people to be informed before they start jumping on bandwagons, if that
yeah.
makes sense. Anyway, and that's all I'm going to say on that, on the
Well,
chaos connection or chaos controversial topic.
Chaos Controversial also wants to show you that it is completely possible to be friends with someone and respectful of someone if you don't share the same views. We want
And
to
we
show
don't.
you that you can have a conversation with somebody and have it be okay.
I
But like,
honestly, I
so we were
enjoy.
talking about
Mhm. Sorry,
what
I was just gonna say
you enjoy.
I enjoy having conversations about topics with someone who has different views or opinions than I do, and obviously it's always done with the utmost respect, but it as long as it's done with the utmost respect by all participants, I enjoy asking questions. I enjoy, learning the thought process that led someone to their opinion. And by no means do I go into those conversations trying to sway the other person. And I hope that the other person isn't thinking they're going to sway me because I'm bullheaded. Um, but it's,
Like a motherfucker.
it's just, I always enjoy learning how other, for different thought processes and different opinions.
And I like, speaking of which, so we all have the Gen X and millennials all kind of got the same type of upbringing in regards to work and work ethic and all that stuff. And so we all have had at various times in the past a job that we didn't love, but it paid the bills, or a job that we hated, but it paid the bills, and we sucked it up and paid the bills. And we were talking to apprentice one today, and he's 19. He doesn't have a whole lot of financial responsibilities at this point in his life, which I'm really glad for because that's still so fucking young. But he was like, so I've got a choice. I can either have a job and go to school and be miserable, or I can have money and not go to school and be okay. And he doesn't like this generation. It is like, it seems like they're taking a page out of what we did wrong and what millennials did wrong, and trying to do better for themselves. And they're like, I don't want a job just to pay the bills. I want a job that I can stand. I want a job with people that I can stand to be around. And if you can't respect me at that job, then I'm a bounce. And most of us have been like, okay, sure, I'll take on the work of a second person for no extra pay. Sure, okay. And gotten stressed and burned out. And I'm kind of like enjoying this attitude that the newer generation has, and trying to like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna act my wage. Because like, I love having a job and I love what I do.
So
But I also love having a life.
this is where Raven and I will agree and disagree, because I have slices of me that will agree with what she just said, and there's another side of me that doesn't. And I think we are going to put a pin in this, and we need to mark it down so that we can put it on Chaos Controversial if we want to record more later, in regards to that, so we can put it up on Patreon, because I tend to have a very blunt approach to this, and I don't want to go into that too hard on this episode where we're talking about growing up.
I think I'd like to
So
join
yeah,
that.
I think we'll table that.
I think I'd like to join
Then I
that
am all
further
for it.
approach.
I'm game. Yeah.
Um,
Are
but
you game, Raven, to have Harley as
Yeah,
a co-host? All right,
of
cool.
course.
So
So
getting
like
back to the
Apprentice
topic.
1 is 19, doesn't know what. No, I was gonna say he doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up. And
Mhm.
Apprentice 2 is terrified of growing up because it means apparently all this responsibility and bills and lack of fun time and freedom. And I'm like, why does it have to mean that? Like, I make
So
time for fun. I make time for my friends. I make time to do what I want.
so
But yeah, they have no idea what they want to be when they grow up.
so so Gremlin 1 Gremlin 1 has cerebral palsy. So since he was since he was old enough to learn to walk, he's had to deal with he's had to deal with wearing uh he's had to deal with wearing like braces,
Brace.
orthotics, that's the word I was looking for. He's had to use orthotics to help strengthen his muscle tone and get his muscles to move in the right way, the way they're supposed to simplify his movement, to normalize his movement, so that his other muscles don't overcompensate and cause other issues. Anyway, um because that's been his experience growing up, when he was in high school, he originally wanted to go to school to become he this is the phrase he used. I haven't heard a profession titled this, but he wanted to be a medical engineer. He wanted to be somebody who engineers medical prosthetic devices or medical orthotic devices to help others dealing with similar
That's really
struggles that he
cool.
had to go through. Yeah, and I was
I've got a friend that could give him some pointers.
and he is, he's very smart, and of course I'm going to say he's smart. He's my kid. But no, genuinely, when he applies himself, he's
He
very
is a
good.
smart kid.
Um and and he but he realized that towards the end of high school, he started dealing with a little bit of anxiety when it came to academics, and um getting scheduling everything and making sure you were allotting enough time to study, and making sure that you were doing projects by their deadline, and balancing multiple classes and multiple schedules. He realized he was dealing with a little bit of anxiety, so he decided that he was going to take a break from school. Um and at the I I understand his reason for wanting to take a break, and I don't talk down to him for deciding to take a break, but I did let him know that from someone who who thought they were just going to take a break from school, it's been I'm pushing 20 years
She's still taking
It-
a break.
since I started my break from
yeah,
school.
I have a year left on my first bachelor's, so
Yeah. So
because I took several breaks.
yeah, but he decided he's taken time off, and he decided that he was going to get a job. So he's gotten into the workforce, and was able to get get a position to learn some professional skills, and actually was able to get a job. And so he's been working, but he is starting to talk about um maybe starting to take a couple of classes here and there at like the community college, um and when we last talked about it, because I don't want to harp on him about it, if it comes up, I like to let it come up naturally. But
Yeah,
last time it came up, he said he was just going to he just wanted to get a degree in engineering, because again, medical engineer isn't necessarily something that has its own designated degree. You can get a degree in engineering and take like biology and physiology classes to understand the.
if he still wants to do that, I've got a friend that he can talk to that can give
Okay,
him some tips in that particular arena. But yeah,
that's
Apprentice 1 took a break from college, and once in a while he says he wants to join the military. And I'm like, as a parent, please fucking join the military because you get free healthcare, free college, free food, free housing. Please, please, please get your basic needs taken care of, and then I don't have to worry as much. But I know my kid, if I, hey, so you want me to take you to a recruiter? He's just going to shut right down. But if I'm like, hey, you got any questions? Okay, cool. And walk away and just kind of leave it for him, he is going to come around and he is going to do it eventually. It's just he has to talk himself into it and he has to make it his idea.
Yeah. I think having
So-
open-ended questions makes things a lot easier.
They're amazing to have with your kids. They're amazing to have with your friends too, because I think we've done that. The three of us have definitely done that with each other. It's like, so do we need to dive deeper into this? I don't want to do it right now. Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Mhm.
We've done that conversation, or we're pushing, being like, just, can I have an idea so I can stop worrying about what the fuck you're thinking about?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, we're good. You don't have to go into it anymore, and then we go.
There are countless times
because we all have this problem with overthinking.
I was gonna say there's been countless times that I have called Raven or Rain when I'm having a high stress, like quote unquote crisis situation, and they answer, and I'm like, this is what's going on, and almost always their response is, do you want to talk about it or do you want me to distract you? Because yeah. But go ahead, Rain. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know I'm back on par for interrupting you.
So it's okay. I'm always going to give you hell about it.
One of these episodes, I'm going to start counting.
Get a clicker.
And Miss Harley, you will be very happy to know that Witchkin 2 just walked into my room to sit on my bed and work on that blanket you requested.
Oh, damn time. You know what? That can be your job. I'll pay her for it.
I'm clapping because when they get that done, they can do mine.
You can message her that. You have her number. Anyway, so kind of going back on topic, because we are almost at time. And we can round robin this as well. But what we wanted to be growing up was ever changing, because we are ever changing. And one of the reasons why I don't feel grown up is because no matter what, in my opinion, we are always going to be learning. We are always going to be changing. And that gives us unique perspective, and it can change what we have the passion for and what we want to do. I am very passionate for project management and Scrum, because as Raven has told me and told multiple people about me, she founded a wild Scrum Master. And Scrum and project management do go hand in hand and are very, very similar. But I like being the person behind the scenes that makes the engine run smooth. I don't need the spotlight. Give me kudos on the side, keep me employed. I like paychecks, but I want to be the one to help get the team to where they need to be. And that's what I'm passionate about. But that's always been kind of my thing, because it's what I do it's what I do in any group that I'm a part of. It's like, okay, so how are we going to get there? And I mean, one of the side projects Raven's wanting to pursue, I've kind of been a huge cheerleader with it. It's like, okay, well, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing this? Fuck, I didn't even think about that. Why didn't I think about that? And this is conversations we have on a regular basis. On a regular basis, I have these conversations with Raven. And I've done similar with Harley. It's like, okay, so you want to do this. What are you doing to get there?
Yeah, it's funny because I've never really settled on what I want to be when I grow up. And I joke that I probably won't ever grow up because I have the sense of humor of a teenage boy. And there was one point where there was one point where I was having a career crisis. Who the fuck am I? What am I good at? What do I do?
You were having a imposter syndrome crisis.
This was actually a few years ago. This was before I met you guys. I think this was even before we moved here. And Dar was like, Raven, you are really good at managing. You are really, really good at management. I was like, that's fantastic, but it's not on my resume. How the fuck do I get into it? How do I convince people to hire me for that? And somehow I did, because I've kind of created a job as being able to translate between management and code geeks somehow.
And
But yeah, I love what I do now. I just am not going to do it forever.
And she is a great mentor
Shit.
when it comes to Scrum and Agile. So if anybody is interested in that, please hit us up on socials and
Oh,
website,
hell yeah.
and we might have some stuff to announce in the future. But if it's something you're interested in, dude, reach out to us. She is a plethora of knowledge, and
Happy
we
to
can
help.
get you in some. We can put you in some contacts with the right people and the right directions on what to look up.
I fully
Okay,
drank the
I
Kool-Aid and I'm
apologize,
deep in the
Harley.
community. So,
We interrupted you
Harley,
this
ma'am.
time.
I was just gonna say, to all of our listeners, shame on you if you doubt the moms of chaos, because the three of us own, operate, and regularly run and maintain a business, an LLC. Thank you very much. And yes, if you're a potential employer, you can bet it's gonna be on my resume. Just saying. I'm kidding. It's not.
We
Because
need to update resumes.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
We need to update resumes. And if you recently started a new position, seriously, if you've recently started a new position, if you do not have a LinkedIn, and you may need to go and revamp your LinkedIn, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to pay anybody to revamp your LinkedIn.
No, fuck that shit. Ask us. We'll give you pointers.
We'll give you
We're not
pointers. We will
experts,
help
but
you.
we'll help.
We'll help you put things in chat GPT. Am I saying that one right? Anyway,
Yes. We know shit because we've been around the block a few times, and if we can help
we know
somebody
shit because we've seen it. We've seen some shit.
Yeah, and if we can help somebody because of the shit that we've been through, that makes it kind of worth it. So,
kind of the goal of the
what you said.
podcast.
Yeah. I'm kind of digging it.
We are advocates of having a tribe, and I have met some interesting people recently. With my new job, with Captain making friends on a game that he's been playing.
Oh,
he's like,
look at him!
And he's like, "Oh, you'd hit it off with Rain." And so, we talked. He talked about me with this person, and then talked about this person with me. And last night I stayed up super late because we were on the phone for 3 hours. So, and
That's a
Captain
Friday
was
night.
part
You
of the
only live once.
conversation. Okay, but the dogs woke me up, and I actually went back to bed until 9.
Woo, look at you!
And this is Rain we're talking about. And the look
I woke up at 8:30.
The look on Harley's face is great. That's early for you. I'm proud of you.
No, I didn't want to wake up at 8:30, so I stayed in bed until 9:30, and then I got hungry, and then I told my family it was time to start the tradition of birthday week pumpkin pancakes with family. So we went to IHOP, and it was glorious.
So the friend of mine that I told her previous best friend I told her to tell her previous friend to fuck off. She has a tradition, and she makes birthday cake pancakes on the morning of whoever's birthday it is.
Aww.
They request whatever type, like funfetti birthday cakes or whatever. And she makes those pancakes in the morning of that person's birthday every year on whatever they request. It's always been the tradition she's had with her family and her kids.
That is really, really awesome, listener. And I am not that type of mom, so seriously, kudos to you.
Oh yeah, legit kudos. But
okay,
no.
So we have reached our time. Oh wait, you need to say what you think. Sorry.
No. I was about to do the same thing you're about to do, Rain, but you go ahead. Take the lead. Take the
Great
reins,
minds think fucking like.
We do.
Take it away, Rain.
Oh, okay. We're doing it. I thought Harley was going to take it. Anyway, so we have reached our time. I hope you enjoyed the fact of, what we wanted to be versus what we became, and our side tangent about our kids and what we see with our kids and all the other stuff.
That helps y'all feel better about your career trajectory or what you've done. And it's life, man. It's not a dick. Don't take it so hard.
You're never going to get out of life.
If you don't wind up accomplishing your dream job that you had when you were 12, doesn't mean that you have failed. Life changes, course changes,
Nope.
and part
Find
of
a new
making
dream.
it through life is learning to pivot and move on.
Fuck yes.
Adapt and overcome. And granted, I know that military moves at the speed of sloth, and those of you who are in the branch that has that motto, you know exactly what I'm saying. But hit us up on our socials. We do have a Patreon. We are going to be working on getting things posted more regularly on our socials, because I'm not giving these ladies an option. They are helping me because we are all part of the workforce now, and it is part of our MOC meetings. So if
Rain is
we
our
do
CIO,
not,
so she is definitely pushing us to get the information out.
so if you don't see anything or any movement by the time that you hear this podcast, seriously, call us out.
Rain will have killed
Send us
us.
send us a message on our website. Send us a message on our socials. We do see them, and this way, I can show them and say, "Look, bitches, we got shit to do."
If
But
you're
I
a
hope you guys have
listener,
a great week.
if you're a listener and you really love Harley, don't rat me out. Thanks. Love you guys.
And if you really love Harley and you want her to do well, you make sure to tell me so I can mom her, because sometimes it's needed. But head over to our socials, check out our Patreon. We should be having more things updating, and hit us up with any suggestions for future shows. We love suggestions. We have great ideas, but sometimes we want some direction. We want to know what you want to hear. So I hope everybody has a great week, and we will see you next week. And be good to yourself.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Love y'all.